What is it about the Nintendo Mii that's so special? Why does looking at one of these faces instantly fill many with nostalgia, joy, and happy memories? Today I'm here to explore the world of Mii games and what makes them so special and able to withstand the test of time better than any other avatars in the gaming world. This video was initially going to be about Tomodachi Life, an amazing Nintendo game for the 3DS that had become a cult classic. However, the deeper I dived into this subject, the more I realized I have a lot to say about Miis and the other games that they inhabit in the Nintendo titles. But don't worry, I'll still discuss Tomodachi Life extensively a little later. My name is Dearest Dimple, and if you like video essays about both beloved and obscure nerdy topics, please subscribe and check out my other videos. My first experience, like many others, with the Mii is in, you guessed it, Wii Sports. Whether shaking my controllers uncontrollably in boxing, missing the ball every time in tennis, or chucking my bowling ball at the crowd of unsuspecting Mii spectators in the bowling alley, I can assure you with 100% certainty I sucked at Wii Sports. So why is it that I have only fond memories of the game? Probably for the same reason that I played soccer for 4 years as an adolescent, never won a game or even touched the ball during a game, but I can still say years later I loved it so much because it was so much fun. So why is it so fun even if you're bad? It was the pure, unadulterated joy that came with playing with your family and friends while actively engaging your body in the activities to get your blood pumping and those happy endorphins rushing through your brain at the same time. Wii Sports is a video game released by Nintendo for the Wii console in 2006. It was one of the first games designed to take advantage of the motion control feature of the Wii remote. The game includes 5 sports: tennis, baseball, bowling, golf, and boxing. The game was developed and led by game designer Katsuya Eguchi. I hope that name sounds familiar to you from my Animal Crossing video. He was also one of the lead designers for Animal Crossing. The developers focused on creating simple and intuitive controls that would be easy for anyone to pick up and play. They also wanted to create a game that would showcase the unique features of the Wii console. Wii Sports was an insane success, selling over 82 million copies worldwide due to it being included with the purchase of the Wii console in most regions, making it one of the most widely played video games in history. Wii Sports was praised for its innovative use of the motion controls and its accessibility to players of all ages and skill levels. Wii Sports has since also inspired a number of other sports games that utilize motion controls, including Wii Sports Resort, Wii Fit, Connect Sports, Ring Fit, and one could argue virtual reality controllers as well. During the pandemic, my husband and I purchased a Wii and some games from the old, reliable Facebook Marketplace, and I was able to experience the joy yet again, not only for myself, but with my young family members who had never experienced a Wii before. And man, those games really do stand the test of time. Every time they came over to my house, they would say, "Let's play the punching game," referring to Wii boxing. Not only was the physical activity appealing, but also the Miis. These little kids, who I thought would have been spoiled by the impressive CGI and graphics of video games of our current time, were just as captivated by their Miis as we were in the 2000s, and they related so much to them being, well, them. For those young kids, it was so much easier for them to understand that's you, rather than you're the tan guy with the purple hair and I'm the dinosaur woman with the blue cape, as we expect little kids to understand in other games. Developer Kaizo Ota had this to say in an excerpt from an interview about the Miis developed for the Wii console. "When we tried playing with these very simple characters, we felt that we were the ones in the game. We tried to use Mario as a character once, but then it didn't feel like we were the ones playing anymore. It felt like Mario was actually the one playing and we were just controlling him." Nintendo created Miis as a way to personalize and humanize the gaming experience. Miis allow players to create avatars that resemble themselves or others and use them in various games and applications. This lowers the bar of entry for gaming by so much to new players and young children. We often think of our kids these days as being really tech savvy, and as much as I'd like to agree with you, try putting something without a touch touchscreen in front of the same kids and it might change your mind. In that same interview referenced earlier, developer Yoshikazu Yamashita had this to say about playtesting the Wii Sports games with families. The other day, we got a family to come in and play Wii Sports so we could hear their impressions. We made Mii characters of everyone in the family in advance, and they were all really happy with it. When the grandmother got a nice catch in baseball, everyone was so excited. They were all saying, "Way to go, Grandma!" Beforehand, I had wondered if something like that would happen, and needless to say, the reactions exceeded my expectations. Miis were introduced with the Wii console, making gaming more accessible and appealing to a broader audience, including families, older folks, and younger folks than would normally play the games. Even the developers recognized the tendency of people to immediately want to make characters based on their friends and families. Takayuki Shimamura said in the same article, "People usually end up making people they know, don't they? In the end, I think that's the most fun. Some people can easily relate to certain characters, usually from repetition. Like, I don't care what you say, I am Pikachu in the wizard hat in Melee, fight me." But in the case of people unfamiliar with gaming and without the hours on the screen, the idea of controlling a character like this seems foreign and can be off-putting, making for a more difficult learning curve. Being able to learn the controls as a little avatar that looks like you makes it more enjoyable, and the mind is more able to generalize the skills that you've learned to other games where the same avatar is used. That being said, I'm just curious, do you know anyone who used the Mii character in Super Smash Bros? I personally have never seen it done before, so let me know in the comments down below if you or someone you know has been a Mii main. I think this is why that in the Mii's heyday, they were able to be used in so many games, with an emphasis on them being used in party or family style games so as many people as possible could enjoy the experience with as little difficulty as possible. In an interview with the Mii developers, Hisashi Nogami explained, "The Make Someone You Know project, Miyamoto's predecessor to the Mii, lived on to the time where we were developing Wii Sports and Wii Play, which were both being developed for the Wii. At this point, Miyamoto had renamed his project the Kokeshi concept. Kokeshis are traditional Japanese dolls with cylindrical shaped bodies and a round head, and eventually became what is known as the Miis." Yamashita went on to say, "The Kokeshi might be simple, but your mind helps make it all more real. In Wii Sports Baseball, even though the arms and legs aren't shown, when the fielders move, it feels realistic when you see them in motion." Most people regard the Miis, being referred to as Kokeshi dolls, having to do just with their appearance and similarity to the traditional Japanese dolls, which is clearly true, but have you ever stopped to think, hey, they kind of are dolls? When texting with a friend earlier in the research process for this video about Tomodachi Life, she said it's like playing with dolls with less work, and it really struck me how true that statement was. Going back to the concept of lowering the bar of entry to play the games, everyone big and small knows how to play with dolls, and playing pretend instantly gives you a sense of childlike wonder and enjoyment in whatever you're doing. What is one of the first things that children do when they're playing with dolls? They act out their real lives. This one's mommy, this one's daddy, this one's sister, etc. They use the dolls to play pretend. Children play pretend to explore and understand the world around them. Pretend play allows children to use their imagination, creativity, and problem-solving skills while also developing social and communication skills. It helps them to make sense of what they observe and experience in their lives and allows them to experiment in different roles and scenarios. Pretend play also provides a safe and fun way for children to practice their social skills, such as empathy and perspective taking. For example, children often have aggressive play where the dolls or action figures are fighting and hitting each other. This doesn't mean the child is aggressive, quite the opposite. It means they're trying to understand the concepts and consequences that come with negative behaviors, and pretend play helps them to process this and learn. Therapists use dolls in therapy with kids as a tool for play therapy. Play therapy is a therapeutic method that helps children express their emotions and experiences through play. Dolls are used in play therapy because they allow children to project their feelings and experiences onto the dolls. By manipulating the dolls, children can act out scenarios and communicate their thoughts and emotions in a safe and non-threatening way that help them develop strategies to deal with their issues. But not only kids enjoy pretending, and that's why role-playing games are so massively popular, especially after the pandemic. Not only were games like D&D, GTA RP, and all of the MMOs places to escape the harsh reality They were places to process big emotions and feelings in a childlike way through playing pretend. With this in mind, it's no wonder that one of the first me-focused projects was just that, essentially a virtual doll house and a role-playing game. Tomodachi Life. Yes. Here's the part you've all been waiting for. Tomodachi Life is a life simulation game for the Nintendo 3DS. It was released in Japan in April of 2013 and a year later in June 2014 globally. Tomodachi Life was a sequel to the Japan-exclusive game Tomodachi Collection, which gained popularity in Japan due to its unique concept of creating avatars based on real people, including friends and celebrities, and allowing them to interact with one another on a virtual island. Some of the celebrities that joined the American version of the game are truly hilarious. Zendaya Coleman, Shaquille O'Neal, Christina Aguilera, and Shaun White. A truly random assortment of American celebrities that could be downloaded to Tomodachi Life and added to the island. Each of these Miis were released on the Tomodachi Life website when the game was first released and could be added by scanning a QR code in your town hall. In the game, you can create and customize your own Mii characters and live out their daily lives on the island with other Miis that you have made. The game features various activities such as shopping, performing music, cooking, and dating that allow players to develop relationships between their Miis. The game's release was positive and it became successful, selling over 6 million copies worldwide. It has since become a cult classic and has been praised for its humor, charm, and accessibility. What makes the game so accessible, you may ask? Well, really, that you don't have to do anything. Something so unique and charming about this game is it practically plays itself. You have very little control over what scenarios play out in your virtual dollhouse, but you have occasional opportunities to mitigate disasters when they do happen. I know to some that may sound boring, but the surprises really keep you on your toes. I was not prepared for the first time that I opened my DS and me and my friend were chucking toys at each other's head and yelling at one another. Another thing that makes it accessible is the controls are very basic, and nearly the entire game is played only using the stylus. As I've stated previously in my Animal Crossing video, I really missed out so much on many of the DS games at the time, including Animal Crossing and Tomodachi Life. So naturally, I found a copy and I've played it in the year of our Lord 2023. Prior to learning about it recently and acquiring a copy to play, my only exposure prior to the game was seeing small clips of funny songs that people had made on Vine when it was popular. The game starts off first with you naming your island, which was difficult for me. I'm way too sentimentally attached to my Animal Crossing island to ever reset it at this point, but I will regret the name I chose until the day I die. I tried not to think about it too hard, so I chose a name to represent a funny voice from Hollow Knight. Then you begin creating your Mii character and giving them a name, customizing their appearance and their personality traits. When making myself and other Miis to look like my husband, friends, and family, I was struck by how accurate this tiny personality quiz really is. With a few brief taps of my stylus, I was able to capture their personalities spectacularly well. The categories are movement, speed, expressiveness, and overall. In these few brief categories, I was able to determine that I am an easygoing optimist, saying that I'm overall relaxed, open-minded, empathetic, and my character is I do things at my own pace in an honest and kind manner, positive, enthusiastic, and always beaming. I smile not only for myself, but for those around me to make sure everyone else has a good time too. Once you've created your Mii character, you'll be able to move into the Mii apartments. From there, you'll be able to explore the island, create and meet other Miis, and interact with them, eventually building relationships. It seems impossible not to immediately want to create your own friends and families when making the Miis. Then once you run out of those ideas, you go straight into meme characters, creating celebrities or other familiar characters from shows or video games. This seems to be a universal experience of Tomodachi Life players, myself included. The main gameplay in Tomodachi Life revolves around fulfilling the requests of the Mii characters. The characters will ask for your help with a variety of things, including hunger, needing a new wardrobe, decorations for their apartment, entertainment, or longing for friendship and even love. However, there are little mini games that you can play with your Mii Islanders, some of which I enjoy and some of which I find nearly impossible. I'm looking at you, Zoom quiz. They include football, which was sumo in the Japanese version, catch, shadow, pixel, and zoom quizzes. There are also some in-game events that feel like mini-games, like Tomodachi Quest. More on that later. Throughout my playthrough of the game, I've noticed a chaotic and random energy that feels very familiar and reminds me of other DS and Wii games. When digging into the game, I was not surprised to learn that many of the members of the staff were also involved in WarioWare games, and some of them, including producer Yoshio Sakamoto, even worked on my favorite Wii game of all time, Rhythm Heaven Fever. This is the same man who in an interview about the game had this to say: "We worked extremely hard to attain our goal of making you say something like, 'This is ridiculous.'" Some of the chaos and humor includes rap battles with other Miis that consist of nothing but roasts, fights with your friends over literally nothing, and the most over-the-top and hilarious reactions when your Mii eats something that they love or something that they hate. This has to be my favorite food reaction. Later in the game, Miis who have fallen in love with each other can get married and have babies. The love mechanics are kind of odd with the age mechanics, and I do not recommend making any children Miis based on people you know, because they will grow up and try to date your friends, and it's just awkward for everyone. Regional differences. In the Japanese version of the game, the age mechanics are even more wonky, and the age divide is blurred for marriage. Children and adults can marry each other. A single Mii can also confess their love to a married Mii. There are other regional differences in the Japanese game, like different music genres and anime blushes that were changed for Western audiences. There are a few really good videos on regional differences on YouTube already, so I won't go too deep into this topic. If you're interested, I'll link the Tomodachi Life wiki and a video detailing all of the regional differences below. I'm still in the middle of my first playthrough, so I'm sure that there are things that I don't even know about with the game yet, but I'm so excited to find them all out. Speaking of regional differences, there's actually two games like Tomodachi Life that centered around the Miis and are life sims that only released in Japan, one of which is widely known about. Tomodachi Collection, the predecessor to Tomodachi Life, which was released in June of 2009. From what I can gather, it was very similar to Tomodachi Life with some of the regional changes that we talked about earlier and overall being slightly less polished. However, there is one other game that most people don't know about, and that was released before Tomodachi Life on October 25th of 2012, AKB48 plus Mii. This game is so Japanese that it's easy to see why it wasn't localized for other countries. The game is focused on the Japanese pop idol group AKB48. An idol is a type of entertainer marketed for image, attractiveness, and personality in Japanese pop music culture. Idols are primarily singers with training in acting, dancing, and modeling. AKB is the best-selling idol group in Japan and holds the Guinness World Record for being the largest pop group with more than 90 members that are split up into several teams. In the game, your Mii joins the idol group and you work on completing mini-games and interacting with other people from the group, managers, etc., to level up your personality and eventually become a permanent member of the group. The game is also a rhythm game with simple stylus-based rhythm mechanics that remind me so much of Project Diva for the DS. I found this game late in my research for the video, but I thought it was so delightfully Japanese that I just needed to share it. The school aesthetic and conversational scenes are just so anime. I'm sure many people would have loved it if it had been localized for the United States. If you're interested in this game, I found another YouTuber who has actually bought a Japanese 3DS and a copy of the game and is playing it with English captions on her channel. I'll link it down in the description. Tomodachi Life paved the way for another classic Mii-based game that has actually since been ported to the Nintendo Switch, Miitopia. Miitopia was released for the Nintendo 3DS in Japan just 3 years later, December of 2016, and globally, July of 2017. After the success of Tomodachi Life, players had enjoyed the charming and unique humor of the game so much that they were eager for more. The game Miitopia is loosely based on Tomodachi Quest, a minigame that you can play when visiting the carnival in Tomodachi Life, in which 3 very pixelated little versions of your Miis go into a dungeon and fight monsters monsters with very simple turn-based combat and extremely limited options. Nintendo wanted to take the elements of Tomodachi Life that everyone loved and move them into a game with more active gameplay, similar to Dragon Quest. Because while I and so many others loved the laid-back nature of the gameplay mechanics in Tomodachi Life, some were left wanting a more active game. There are always two sides to anything though, because after the release of Miitopia, more experienced RPG gamers complained that it was too easy. The game is an RPG that allows players to create their own Mii characters and choose from 6 different classes, including Mage, Warrior, Cleric, Thief, Popstar, and Chef, with more options unlocking later in the game. When beginning the game, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, and if I'm being honest, I was initially unhappy, because I thought for some reason I would be alone. I know, Dimple, look at the box, it's obviously a party game, but making my Mii in the beginning and doing the tutorial alone felt very empty, and I was worried that the game would be nothing like Tomodachi Life. Once I made the second member of my adventuring party, the Miis began interacting with each other, and I was much happier, because the interactions are the thing that I like the most about Tomodachi Life. In the Mii interactions, you see the spirit of Tomodachi Life, with similar humor and emotes, as well as special interactions based on personality types. Players in Miitopia embark on a quest to save the world of Miitopia from an evil force, with what has to be one of the strangest RPG plots, saving the world from a bad guy who has stolen everyone's Mii face and put their faces on monsters and creatures. You get to design your whole team, and even the bad guys, which can be really fun, and it makes it a little more fun when the Miis start to develop relationships with each other in battle and start staying together at the end. The power of friendship gives power-ups, and bonds strengthen when your team learns new moves to protect one another and work better together in a team fight. On May 21st of 2021, Miitopia was ported to the Switch, and many Mii lovers and fans of the previous games were ecstatic, and it sold very well. Many praised it for having one of the most detailed Mii makers that we've ever seen and more customization options than ever, making for some hilarious Miis. However, it left many sad that Tomodachi Life was seemingly being forgotten by Nintendo in favor of Miitopia, as naturally, the game that came before should be ported first if it was going to be. There's even a change.org petition to bring Tomodachi Life to the Switch that currently has over 25,000 signatures. Some people in the community are really hopeful that we will get a Tomodachi Life port or sequel in the future on the Switch, and I want them to be right. I'm afraid the issues surrounding the relationship mechanics may hinder us from ever seeing a modern release, because as much as we love Nintendo, we know it's a conservative Japanese company, and I worry that them not wanting to make changes to this part of the game may keep us from seeing a sequel. The Future of Miis. Miis make appearances in many future Nintendo titles, but there's a limited number of them in which you can actually be a playable character. Sometimes the whole playable character thing doesn't even go so well. I'm looking at you, DDR Mii. In many games, Miis could be seen in the background, or you could use a Mii as an icon. Even in Animal Crossing City Folk, you could use your Mii to make a Mii mask and adopt the look of your avatar. Adding the Mii mask also fixed a major problem in the earlier games in the Animal Crossing franchise. With the addition of the Mii mask, players could now change their avatar's skin tone. When wearing the Mii mask, their skin tone will change to match that of their Mii, allowing them to look like themselves without having to use the tanning mechanic and bake in the sun for an hour just to look like themselves. There also were many more party games for the Wii, like Wii Sports, including Wii Sports Resort, Wii Fit, Wii Party, Wii Music, all use the Mii, but no others use the Miis as central characters as in Tomodachi Life and Miitopia. With the release of the Wii U, a new era of Miis was born with Nintendo Land and the Miiverse. These were interactive online spaces where you could interact and play games with other people, draw pictures, send messages, and participate in discussion boards about what games you were playing. Due to this still being the Wild West era on the internet and in gaming spaces, the Miiverse was not able to be adequately moderated, leading to some hilarious and downright goofy memes and conversations coming from this space. Due to declining user traffic, high maintenance costs of operation, lack of utility for users, poor moderation, and Nintendo's shift towards the Nintendo Switch, the company announced in 2017 that the Miiverse would be closing down. The shutdown of the Miiverse reminds me a lot of the shutdown of Club Penguin. The active members of the site all gathered together, sharing their realistic drawings of Satoru Iwata and saying their heartfelt and sincere goodbyes. After the Wii U, I think most players had hopes of seeing their Miis again on the next console, and maybe even seeing another version of the Mii Plaza or the Miiverse. But sadly, nothing of the sort has ever ever been a part of the Switch. Many people have criticized the Nintendo Switch's limited online capacity, but I can't help but wonder if they were intentional in its limitations due to the problems that plagued the Wii U. Other than their use in games like Super Smash Bros. And Mario Kart, the Miis are pretty non-existent these days. A new version of them was brought into Switch Sports, but they were not very well received. The first time that we've seen them take center stage on the Switch is in the 2021 release of Miitopia, and all has been quiet since then with the exception of the weird Miis in Switch Sports. In case you didn't know, there is a Mii Maker on your Nintendo Switch hidden in the settings menu if you don't have an older console handy and have the urge to make one. Well, there you have it. All you ever needed to know about the development of the Nintendo Miis and some of the reasons we love them and the games they're the stars of. Subscribe so I can keep making videos like this. If you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate your time and I hope you do something today that makes you happy. See you later. Bye!